Attention, night dwellers. For those who prefer their knowledge served at midnight, best consumed while doing mundane tasks your future self will thank you for, or while questioning your life choices in bed. Warning, side effects may include unexpected enlightenment and slightly improved existence. If you're here for dopamine, your TikTok algorithm misses you. For the rest, prepared to learn while the world sleeps. Welcome to your intellectual purgatory.
Hey everyone, ready to unlock some serious productivity superpowers?
I like that superpowers.
Well, today we're diving deep into Ali Abdaal's productivity strategies.
And I have to admit, I'm a fan of his work.
Me too. He's got some great insights, and he always emphasizes working smarter, not harder. Right?
Absolutely.
And one of the things that really caught my attention is his focus on this brain chemical, serotonin.
Ah, yes. The happiness molecule. Or at least that's one way to think about it.
Right. It's linked to mood, energy,
Yeah.
basically feeling good and getting things done.
Exactly. And here's the fascinating part. Did you know that 90% of your serotonin is actually produced in your gut?
Wait, seriously? My stomach is responsible for my happiness.
Well, not entirely, but there's this powerful connection called the gut-brain axis.
Okay, I've heard of that, but I don't really understand it.
It's basically a communication highway between your gut and your brain, and serotonin is a key messenger on that highway.
So if my gut's unhappy, my brain is going to have a rough day.
You could say that.
Okay, I'm starting to see the link here. So how do we keep our gut and our brain happy and productive? What does Abdaal suggest?
He's got 5 key habits that he swears by, and they're all about boosting serotonin naturally.
Okay, lay them on me. I need all the help I can get.
Well, first up is what he calls the law of serotonin. Sounds pretty official, right?
I know. It's got me intrigued. What is it?
It's pretty simple, actually. He recommends taking daily walks in nature, ideally without headphones.
So ditching the podcasts and the music, just me and the trees.
Exactly. He says it aligns us with our inner hunter-gatherer.
Interesting. It does sound kind of grounding, getting back to nature. But is there any science to back this up?
There is. Think about the Japanese practice of forest bathing. It's not actually bathing, it's just being in nature, soaking it all in.
Okay, I've heard of that. It's supposed to be really good for you, right?
It is. Studies have shown that just 15 minutes of forest bathing can reduce stress hormones, lower blood pressure, and even increase feelings of relaxation and well-being.
So even a quick walk in the park could make a difference.
Absolutely.
All right, I can definitely fit that into my routine. Walk in nature. Check. What's next on Abdaal's list?
Speaking of getting outside, his next tip is all about sunlight specifically, getting some sunshine first thing in the morning.
Instead of, say, scrolling through social media.
Exactly.
Guilty is charged. But what's so special about morning sunlight? I mean, I know it's good for us, but...
It does a few things. It boosts cortisol, which is a hormone that helps you feel alert and awake.
Okay, that makes sense. Cortisol gets a bad rap sometimes, but we need it, right?
We do, in the right amounts, at the right time. Morning sunlight also helps to regulate your circadian rhythm, which is your natural sleep-wake cycle.
So better sleep. Sign me up.
And most importantly for our topic today, sunlight triggers serotonin production.
Ah, there it is. So it's like a triple whammy for better mood, energy, and focus. How much sunlight are we talking?
Aim for 5 to 15 minutes, depending on how cloudy it is. Even a little bit can make a difference.
All right, walk in nature, sunlight. I'm starting to sense a theme here. It's all about getting back to basics, right?
It is.
What's next on our serotonin-boosting adventure?
Remember that gut-brain connection we were talking about?
How could I forget? My stomach is apparently my second brain.
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Abdaal's third habit is all about taking care of your gut with probiotics.
Okay, like those little yogurt drinks.
Exactly. Or kimchi, sauerkraut, kombucha.
I actually love those.
Uh,
But how do they help our gut exactly?
They're full of good bacteria, basically. Live microorganisms that help to create a healthy balance in your gut. And a healthy gut means...
A happy brain and a more productive me.
You got it.
Okay, so should we be popping probiotic supplements or sticking to those fermented foods?
Both can be helpful. Supplements can be a convenient way to get a concentrated dose of probiotics.
I do like convenience.
But don't underestimate the power of probiotic-rich foods.
I agree. They're delicious and they're good for you. What's not to love?
Exactly. And on that note, Abdaal also emphasizes the importance of a nutrient-rich, fiber-filled diet overall.
So it's not just about adding probiotics. It's about making sure you're nourishing your body with the right foods in general.
Exactly. Think fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats, all the good stuff.
And maybe laying off the processed foods and sugary snacks.
Probably a good idea.
Hmm.
Those can actually deplete your serotonin levels, leaving
Mhm.
you feeling sluggish and, well, less productive.
Food as fuel for productivity. I like that.
It's a good way to think about it.
Okay, so we've got nature walks, sunlight, and a gut-friendly diet. What other productivity-boosting habits does Abdal recommend?
This one might surprise you. It's a breathing technique.
A breathing technique.
Yep. It's called resonance breathing, and it's about slowing down your breath to just 6 breaths per minute.
Wait, so just breathing slowly can make me more productive?
It's not just about productivity, it's about reducing stress and promoting a sense of calm and focus.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How exactly does it work?
It's all about activating your parasympathetic nervous system. That's the system that tells your body to rest and digest.
So the opposite of fight or flight.
Exactly. And guess what? It also boosts serotonin production.
All right, I'm sold. Tell me how to do it.
It's pretty simple. You just breathe in for 4 seconds and then out for 6.
That's it. I can do that.
Why don't we try a round together right now?
Sure. I'm feeling a little stressed just thinking about all these productivity hacks, so I could use a little calming breath work.
Okay, close your eyes if you like and just focus on your breath. Breathe in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And out for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Wow, that was surprisingly relaxing.
See, even a few rounds of resonance breathing can make a difference.
I'm a believer. Small changes, big impact. I like it.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of understanding how your body and mind work together.
So we've covered nature walks, sunlight, gut-friendly foods, and resonance breathing. What's the final habit in Abdal's productivity arsenal?
It's one that we often sacrifice in our quest for productivity.
Yeah.
Sleep.
Sleep. The holy grail of a well-rested and productive life. But tell me, how does sleep tie into serotonin and all these productivity hacks we've been discussing?
It's all about those serotonin receptors we were talking about earlier. It turns out they go through a sort of reset period during deep sleep.
So if I'm not getting enough deep sleep, my serotonin receptors don't get a chance to recharge.
Exactly. And without that reset, they become less sensitive to serotonin the next day, which can lead to all sorts of problems.
Like feeling groggy, irritable, and less productive.
Exactly.
Okay, this is definitely validating my need for a solid 8 hours of sleep.
Sleep is not a luxury, it's a necessity.
Totally agree. But besides just aiming for a good night's rest, are there any specific things we can do to optimize our sleep?
Absolutely. Abdal is a big advocate for creating a calming wind-down routine.
You mean like no screen time before bed?
Exactly. The blue light emitted from screens can actually interfere with your body's natural melatonin production, which is the hormone that helps you fall asleep.
I know I should do that more often. What else can we do to create a sleep-conducive environment?
A warm bath, reading a book, listening to calming music, anything that helps you to relax and unwind before bed.
It's about creating those rituals, right? Signaling to your body and mind that it's time to wind down.
Exactly.
I'm feeling inspired to revamp my sleep routine. So we've covered a lot of ground here, from walking in nature to prioritizing sleep. It seems like these habits are not just about productivity, but also about overall well-being.
They are. It's all connected. When you take care of your physical and mental health, your productivity naturally increases.
I love that holistic approach. So those are Abdal's 5 key habits for boosting serotonin and maximizing productivity. Nature walks, sunlight, gut-friendly foods, resonance breathing, and quality sleep.
It's a pretty solid foundation for a more productive and fulfilling life.
I agree. So what else does he have in store for us on this productivity deep dive?
Oh, he's got plenty more insights to share, but we'll save those for next time. So now that we've covered those foundational habits, let's zoom in on how the serotonin actually impacts our ability to focus and make decisions.
Okay, I'm all ears.
This is where Abdal brings in this idea of mental bandwidth.
Mental bandwidth. I like the sound of that.
Right. It's like we only have so much mental capacity each day, right?
Makes sense. Like we've all had those days where we just feel mentally fried. Like you can't make even the simplest decision.
Exactly. And here's the kicker. When our serotonin levels are low, that mental bandwidth actually shrinks.
So it's like trying to run a bunch of apps on your phone when the battery is low. Everything just starts lagging and crashing.
Perfect analogy.
So those serotonin boosting habits we were talking about, those are essentially expanding our mental bandwidth.
Exactly. Giving us more capacity to think clearly, make decisions, stay focused.
Okay, got it. So that's how we increase our mental bandwidth. But how do we make the most of the bandwidth we do have? Are there specific strategies for that?
There are. Abdal has a bunch of great tips for what he calls decision fatigue elimination.
Decision fatigue. Is that like when you've had to make too many decisions and your brain is just exhausted?
Exactly. Because it turns out even those tiny decisions like what to wear or what to eat for breakfast, they all chip away at that mental bandwidth.
So even choosing between cereal or toast for breakfast is draining my brain power.
It can, especially if you're the type of person who tends to overthink things.
Oh, that's so me. I could spend 20 minutes agonizing over which coffee to order.
Right. And then as the day goes on, all those little decisions add up, and you end up with this decision fatigue, which makes it harder to focus on those bigger, more important things.
Oh, I definitely feel that. By the end of the day, my brain is basically mush.
Exactly. And that's what Abdal wants to help us avoid, right?
So how do we streamline our decision-making? I'm all for less brain mush.
One really effective strategy is to create routines.
Routines, you mean like having a set schedule for certain tasks?
Exactly. So you're not wasting mental energy making decisions about things you do every day.
So like planning your meals for the week in advance or laying out your clothes the night before.
Exactly. You're basically putting those decisions on autopilot.
I like that. Autopilot for the win. What else?
Another strategy is to limit your choices, because sometimes having too many options can actually lead to decision paralysis.
Oh, I am so guilty of this. Like scrolling through Netflix for an hour and then just giving up because I can't decide what to watch.
Right. It's the paradox of choice. More choices don't always lead to better decisions. So, Abdal recommends narrowing your options down to a few favorites.
Less is more. I can get behind that. Any other tips for fighting decision fatigue?
Don't be afraid to delegate. If there are tasks that you can hand off to someone else, do it.
Delegation. Such a powerful tool, but so hard sometimes.
I know, but it's about recognizing that you don't have to do everything yourself.
Right, because if I'm trying to do everything, I end up doing nothing well.
Exactly. And by delegating, you free up your mental bandwidth to focus on your strengths and the tasks that really require your unique skills.
Okay, so we're maximizing our mental bandwidth by eliminating those unnecessary decisions. What else can we do to work smarter, not harder?
This is where Abdal's concept of focusing on high-impact activities comes in.
High-impact activities. Sounds important.
They are. It's about identifying those tasks that are really going to move the needle, the ones that are going to make the biggest difference in achieving your goals.
So it's not just about getting things done, it's about getting the right things done.
Exactly. It's about working smarter, not just harder.
Okay, but how do we figure out what those high-impact activities are?
Well, Abdal recommends using the 80-20 rule.
The 80-20 rule. Remind me what that is again.
It's the idea that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts.
Ah, right. So the key is to identify that 20%, those high-impact activities, and focus on those.
Exactly. And let go of the rest, or at least delegate them if you can.
This makes a lot of sense. But I think it can be hard sometimes to figure out which tasks fall into that 20%.
It can be. It takes some self-reflection and some honest assessment of your priorities and your goals.
Right. It's about being strategic and intentional with our time and energy, not just reacting to whatever pops up on our to-do list.
Precisely. And this ties back to that mental bandwidth idea we were talking about earlier. By focusing on those high-impact activities, you're not only getting more done, but you're also conserving mental energy.
It's all connected. I'm loving this. What other productivity hacks does Abdal recommend?
Well, one that he swears by is batching similar tasks together.
Batching. Okay, tell me more. I'm intrigued.
It's about grouping those similar tasks together and then tackling them in one focused block of time.
So instead of switching between different tasks all day long,
You dedicate specific time slots to certain types of activities.
so like one block for emails, one for phone calls, one for writing, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
It sounds kind of revolutionary. Does it actually work?
It does, because by batching, you're reducing that mental effort required to switch between different modes of thinking.
Which means more productivity, less stress, and fewer distractions.
You got it.
I'm definitely trying this. Any other benefits to batching besides increased focus?
It can also help with time management and motivation, because when you complete a batch of tasks all at once, you get that sense of accomplishment, that momentum.
Okay, I'm sold on batching. It seems like such a practical and manageable way to boost productivity.
It is. And like any new habit, the key is consistency. The more you practice it, the more natural it will become.
So we've talked about decision fatigue elimination, focusing on high-impact activities, and the power of batching. What else can we do to work smarter, not harder?
Well, let's dive into another concept that Ali Abdaal is passionate about, deep work.
Deep work, I've heard of that, but it sounds kind of intense. What exactly does it involve?
It's about dedicating those focused, uninterrupted blocks of time to your most cognitively demanding tasks.
Okay, but in today's world, with constant distractions, how do we even make time for that?
It's not easy. Abdaal suggests scheduling specific blocks of time for deep work.
So it's not just about finding random pockets of time, it's about actually blocking out those time slots in your calendar.
Exactly. And ideally, those should be longer blocks of time, at least 90 minutes to 2 hours if possible.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm.
But what about those inevitable distractions? You know, the email, the phone calls, the siren song of social media. How do we silence all of that when we're trying to focus?
Well, that's where creating a distraction-free environment comes in.
So like finding a quiet space, turning off my phone, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Maybe even noise-canceling headphones if you need them.
I like the sound of that. A productivity sanctuary. But what about when our minds start to wander? Are there any strategies for staying focused when our thoughts start to drift?
Abdal's a big fan of mindfulness meditation.
Mindfulness for productivity. I always thought of meditation as more of a relaxation technique.
It definitely is relaxing, but it can also be incredibly powerful for improving your focus and concentration.
Interesting. So it's like a mental workout for your attention span.
Exactly.
I'm going to have to give that a try. Okay, so we've got scheduling dedicated time blocks, creating a distraction-free environment, and incorporating mindfulness. What else can we do to make deep work a reality in our busy lives?
Abdal suggests exploring this idea of digital minimalism.
Digital minimalism. I like the sound of that. Like, we declutter our homes, why not declutter our digital lives too?
Exactly. It's about being more intentional with the technology we allow into our lives.
So it's not about abandoning technology altogether.
No, it's about using it more purposefully, in a way that supports our values and our goals.
Okay, I'm convinced.
Yeah.
How do we actually put digital minimalism into practice?
Abdal recommends starting with a digital declutter. Take some time to review all the apps, websites, and social media platforms you use regularly.
Oh, that sounds scary. I don't even want to know how much time I waste on social media.
It can be eye-opening, but the goal is to identify those that are truly adding value to your life and let go of the ones that aren't.
Okay, that makes sense. Get rid of the digital clutter. What else?
It's also important to set those boundaries around technology use.
Boundaries, like no phones at the dinner table.
Exactly. Or maybe establishing some tech-free zones in your home, like the bedroom or the dining room.
Ooh, I love that. A digital detox zone. What a great idea.
And then finally, Abdul encourages people to find those offline activities that bring them joy.
So it's about finding that balance, right? Not letting the digital world completely take over.
Exactly.
This has been so insightful. I'm feeling inspired to rethink my relationship with technology.
That's great to hear. Remember, it's all about finding what works best for you.
Absolutely. We've explored some really powerful strategies for working smarter, not harder, without burning out. From boosting serotonin to embracing deep work and digital minimalism, there are so many ways to optimize our productivity and well-being.
It's about creating a sustainable system, right?
It is. So what else does Abdal have up his sleeve? What other strategies does he recommend?
He's got a few more, and we'll dive into those right after this. So we were talking about Ali Abdal's productivity secrets.
Right. And how to work smarter, not harder. What else does he have for us?
Well, he emphasizes something called Parkinson's Law.
Parkinson's Law. Like the medical condition?
Yeah, it is a medical condition, but it's also a productivity principle.
Okay, I'm confused. How does that work?
It states that work expands to fill the time allotted for it.
So if I give myself a whole week to do something, it'll take a whole week.
Exactly. But if you give yourself 2 days, it might only take 2 days.
Interesting. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing.
You could say that. Abdal suggests setting tight deadlines for yourself to kind of leverage this principle.
Makes sense. I definitely work better under pressure. But isn't there a risk of, like, sacrificing quality if we're always rushing?
There's a balance, for sure. But Abdal actually believes that Parkinson's Law can help us improve the quality of our work.
Really? How so?
Because when we have less time, we're forced to prioritize. We focus on the most essential tasks. We cut out the fluff.
So it's about working smarter, not just faster.
Exactly.
I like it. Okay, Parkinson's Law, added to the toolkit. What else?
Well, this one is a bit more tech-focused. Abdal is a big believer in using technology to automate tasks.
Automation, yes. Anything that saves me time and effort, I'm all for it.
Right. And the great thing is there are so many tools available now that can automate those repetitive, time-consuming tasks.
So we could free up our brains for more creative and strategic work.
Exactly. It's all about working smarter, not harder.
Okay, I'm sold. But I do have one concern. Isn't there a risk of becoming too reliant on technology?
That's a valid concern. But I don't think it's about technology replacing humans. It's about augmenting our capabilities.
So like working with technology, not against it.
Exactly. We can use technology to handle those tedious tasks, and then we can focus on those uniquely human skills like creativity and problem solving.
Okay, that makes me feel better. What kind of tools does Abdal recommend for automation?
He's a big fan of tools like Zapier and IFTTT.
Zapier, IFTTT.
They let you connect different apps together. Like you could set it up so that every time you get an email with an attachment, it automatically saves to your Dropbox.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm gonna have to check those out.
Yeah, they can be real-time savers. And there are tons of other automation tools out there. It's worth exploring to see what could work for you.
This is blowing my mind. Okay, so we've got Parkinson's Law, automation. What's Abdal's final piece of advice for maximizing productivity?
He really emphasizes the importance of cultivating a growth mindset.
A growth mindset. I thought that was more of a, self-help thing, not a productivity hack.
It's both. Because a growth mindset is all about believing that you can always learn and improve.
Right. It's about embracing challenges, not shying away from them.
Exactly. People with a growth mindset see setbacks as opportunities to learn and grow.
And that resilience is essential for, well, pretty much everything in life, right?
Absolutely. Whether you're trying to achieve a specific goal or just navigate the ups and downs of daily life, a growth mindset can make all the difference.
I love that. Okay, this has been an incredible deep dive. We've covered so much ground. Boosting serotonin, embracing deep work, automating tasks, cultivating a growth mindset. It's a lot to take in.
It is, but remember, it's a journey.
Right, not a destination.
Exactly. And it's all about finding what works for you. Experiment, try new things, see what sticks.
And most importantly, be kind to yourself along the way.
Always.
Well, this has been incredibly insightful. I feel like I have a whole new toolkit for working smarter, not harder.
That's great to hear.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today. It's been a pleasure diving deep with you.
Likewise.
And to all our listeners out there, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.
Well, congratulations on separating yourself from the horde of dopamine zombies out there. Share this sacred knowledge with someone who still has a spark of curiosity left. Return tomorrow night when the digital cattle have exhausted their screen time. We'll be waiting with more forbidden insights.